Hi.
So, how are you doing? You good?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. I'm okay.
All right. So can you please tell me a bit about yourself?
Okay, my name is Farah Izzati Binti. I'm from DEC 6 and I'm taking diploma in English communication.
All right. Okay. It is such a pleasure to have you, Miss Farah. So, can we start straight away with our interview?
Yes, sure.
All right. Okay. So, my first question for you would be, do you know what informal language is? So if you do know, what are the types and how do you differentiate them?
For me, formal language is a form of the way you talk to people in a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
Informal language is more to the way you talk to peers or even siblings and all of those. For the types of informal language is maybe jargons, abbreviations, short uh, slangs, short forms, and all of those. And how do I differentiate them? How I talk, how I type or message, and how I speak to them. For me, that is how I differentiate informal languages.
Okay, right. Thank you. So from your brief explanation, I think you are very, well versed with informal language. All right. So next, I would like to ask, like from the types of informal language that you had listed just now, which of them do you think that you use the most in your daily communication?
For me, one of the most used informal language for me is probably slangs
Slang.
because
Okay.
those who around me actually use a lot of slangs. So for me, if I don't use the slang when I talk to them, maybe I would feel like okay, it's wrong for me to do so because I'm not
Mm-hmm.
keeping up with the people.
Okay, I see. So, as you have chosen a slang for your, most used informal language in your daily communication, so I would like to ask, slang is also a part of informal language on our generation, the Gen Z, and Gen Z is also well known for, creating and using slang in our daily communication. So, are you happen or do you happen to have, your secret slang, maybe like your personal slang when you talk to your friends? And if you do, like how you guys actually like come up with that thing, like how they actually like existed on the first place?
A slang that I we created, maybe we didn't create a slang because we just followed from those. Maybe we took it from the internet and all of those. So a slang that we always use is probably GG. It's
GG.
actually a term for those who play game. Yeah, good game. But for us, whenever you're going to face maybe someone that's strict, a lecturer that's strict, will be like, okay, GG, just like prepare yourself before you like face something.
I see. So you can actually like use it in a good way and also in a bad way, right? Is it?
Yes, yes,
All right. Okay.
yeah, exactly. That's how you use GG.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Next question would be like, do you perhaps find yourself not understanding in some, for some slangs, like why do you think that you cannot understand it when you actually like
There
accidentally, find slang everywhere?
there are certain times that I feel like I question myself how actually the slangs exist, and I
Mm-hmm.
feel like okay, why does it exist? It doesn't make sense at all. So
Mm-hmm.
for me, yeah, there are some kinds of slangs I mostly would use because I don't understand the how to use it.
Okay. All right. Okay, next question would be like, could the use of informal language, especially slang,
Hmm?
abbreviation,
Hmm.
or jargon, causes miscommunication? If so, why?
Um, Sometimes informal language does causes miscommunication because sometimes if you want to I'm sorry, my throat kind
Okay.
of hurts. So sometimes when you want to say A, but actually the meaning is B,
Uh-huh.
some people might misunderstood certain things, and maybe they don't know what the slangs mean. So
Mm-hmm.
it will probably make them think that it's a bad thing, or it's not something that they should use, or something a person should not say to another person.
All right. Okay, I see. Well, good answer. Okay. Okay. I really wonder, like, if like how uh our generation like very well versed in using informal language, and it is indeed a part of our life, not only our generation. So informal language is more easy to be understood for some people. I bet you kind of agree with that statement. So why do you think that we are not allowed
Hi.
to use the existing simplicity in our informal language, informal context?
Because we have this generation gap throughout those. For me, formal context is when you communicate with those who are actually older than you and has a lot more experience. So for me, if we're talking we talk with them in a informal speech or informal way, it gives out the idea of we're actually not respecting them. So for me, I personally would never use informal language when I use in a formal context, because for me, we don't appreciate the other person.
Okay, I see. So it would be like much respectful for us to use formal language when we are talking to, older people.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so my next question would be, so as a diploma in English communication student yourself, do you think that by using informal language too often in daily communication, whereby you're going to ignore the fact that grammar exists and this will affect
Mm.
your literary performance? Can you please justify?
Okay. For this question, I actually think that when we do use a lot of formal language in our communication, it will affect our literary performance and our grammar, because
Mhm.
maybe because we're too used of saying like the is and are. Even sometimes we actually ignore the fact that is and are is for those affect their literary performance. But however, for me, I have a, I have a, I can differentiate between formal and informal.
Mhm.
So whenever I do in a formal context, I would try my best to agree with the fact that there is a grammar. My literally performance should be better than from when I talk in informal language.
Oh, okay, I see. Interesting. Okay. Um, My next question would be like regarding the same situation in the previous question. Do you think that by using informal language, especially slang, abbreviation, and jargon affects your fluency of speech? Can you please justify?
Okay, I do agree with it actually affects our speech more rather than our writing skills.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly because our tongue is just used to like using informal language. So whenever
Yeah.
we try to be formal again, it will be a hard time, because we have to choose a more proper and a more formal way of saying some certain
Mm-hmm.
things.
Okay, I see. So, all right. If you were given the chance to reset the world, do you still want to want the informal and informal language to coexist, or do you wish to choose only one of them to be exist? If you do, why? If you don't, why?
For me, I think coexist together, because it gives a gap of how we can talk to peers and how we talk properly with our friends, and sometimes we do want to call them call them certain things in a proper way. We want to like express ourselves better with those informal languages. But however, with the older generation, it's better for me us to be more proper and have the differences between our communications.
So you choose not to delete both of the language.
I choose to coexist.
So you choose to coexist. Okay, I see. Okay. The very last question from me would be that usually formal language is to be used while communicating with someone of a higher position in the hierarchy, such as elderly, lecturers or bosses in a company. So why do you think that the same situation happened on the first place?
Okay, just as I explained for question number nine, it's more probably because we want to try gain their respect. It's not
Mm-hmm.
we do respect them, but we want them to also respect us because communicating is a way we can know how someone is because the way the tone or the way they talk to people, it actually shows how a person is. So when we talk to those who are in the higher position, it's better if we have a formal language because it actually helps to create a bond and a trust between them.
All right, I see. Okay, that's all. The question. We don't have anything else. So I would like to thank you for spending your time, your evening with me, having a little mini interview with me. Thank you, Miss Farah.
Okay, I know. Okay,
All right,
thank
have a nice
you.
day.
You too.